Hey there, it's Sara, and I am so excited to be back with a shorty episode after our summer break. But before we dive into the topic, I've got something exciting for you. My 100-day alcohol-free challenge, the Push to 100, is starting on September 12th. But I'm only accepting 30 people for this round. If you're even thinking about going all in on your alcohol-free journey, this is your sign. The waitlist is now open, and it's the only way to get first dibs when applications launch. Head to nomorewasteddays.co/100 waiting list. Again, that's nomorewasteddays.co/100 waiting list. And the link is also in the show notes to this episode. So head there and get on the list today. All right, let's dive into this topic. We're going to be talking about why you're not broken. You're just numbing out. It's totally normal, first of all. And I want you to know that this goes beyond using alcohol as a numbing out agent. We're also going to talk about things like scrolling or eating or maybe THC usage. All of these things are totally real. They're totally human, and we can all get stuck into this cycle. And I want you to know that you're not broken. You're coping. The world is a hard place, right? Our lives are stressful, and it's normal to want to numb out every now and then. I know that when I was a teacher, I was still a drinker, and my job was hard. If you're a teacher, you know you have so many interactions in a day. It's just really overwhelming. And beyond the interactions that you have with your students, you have interactions with fellow staff members and your principal, and it is a busy, busy job. So when I would get home each night from work, I would already be thinking about that glass of wine I was going to have or that bottle of beer that I was going to enjoy on the deck so I could just numb out from the day. When I first ditched alcohol, I wondered if I would be able to handle these emotions without this numbing out option. It was really overwhelming because I felt a little like I was broken. I did. I felt like this was a way that I coped, and it was really the only way that I knew how to do it anymore. But if you are also stuck in this cycle, I want you to know that these aren't signs of failure. They are coping strategies you learned to manage stress, overwhelm, and difficult emotions. They may no longer serve you, but they once protected you. And now you have to tell yourself, I can learn to protect myself in other ways. And today we're going to dive into better tools you can use that can deeper compassion for yourself. So now let's talk about the many faces of numbing. It can take on many different faces, and a lot of times when you ditch alcohol, you pick up one of the other ones. So listen to the other ones as I go through them and kind of go, oh yeah, that's me right now. I'm stuck there. And then we're going to talk about tools so you can actually start managing your stress, managing the high emotions you feel in other healthy and nourishing ways. All right, the first one is alcohol. Let's face it, it's socially accepted, even encouraged as a way to unwind or take the edge off. But often it's masking anxiety, dissatisfaction, or lack of connection. And the hangover and the regret and the brain fog only add to the spiral. I know that since you're listening to this podcast, this is most likely your form of numbing, but I also want to touch on some other forms of numbing because, like I said before, we can often tend to turn to other ways of numbing after we've quit drinking, and sometimes they're just not so healthy. So the next one is THC. Maybe you call it weed or cannabis, whatever you call it. This is what I turned to after I quit drinking. I was like, okay, I'm not going to drink anymore, but I'm still going to use THC products because they didn't give me a hangover. So it felt like a healthier and even a more natural way to unwind compared to alcohol. But what I found out was that it was still a form of numbing for me. It did not work for me, but many people use it to escape overstimulation or anxiety or boredom or burnout. And then what starts as this intentional use of what I was talking about with the overstimulation, anxiety, etc., slowly turns into a haze that keeps you from fully engaging with your life. It's especially sneaky because it's legal in a lot of states now, and it's often framed as self-care. I have a lot of people comment that, yeah, I ditched alcohol, but now I use THC products or weed or whatever you want to call it, right? And I understand that. I know for me, it made me feel like this is an okay way to do it. It's a plant, right? It's a form of self-care. For a lot of people, it can make you feel more spiritual or creative. But it can start making you feel foggy, unmotivated, or disconnected. And that's exactly what happened to me. I started seeing that it was playing the role in my life that alcohol did, and it was just a different way to numb out, so I had to cut that out. The next thing you may catch yourself doing is screens and scrolling. I am guilty of this one. You guys, I'm guilty of all of these, okay? As I'm going through them, don't be like, oh no, this one's mine, because we all fall into these categories. We're human, right? But screens and scrolling, phones can become your escape hatch. Mindlessly scrolling can feel like a relief. You can get stuck on the TikTok FYP, right? Watching all of the funny content. And sometimes it keeps us stuck in distraction and comparison. It is a quick dopamine hit with zero nourishment. And a lot of times I can tell when it's getting to be too much because all of a sudden I start going, oh my gosh, after I scroll, I just feel so terrible about myself. Like my body will even feel achy afterwards. And that's my sign. The next one I wanted to talk about was sugar and food. Sugar gives us comfort. It gives us something to look forward to. I'm totally guilty of this one too. It can be a reward after a stressful day, but just like alcohol, it often leaves us feeling guilt or having energy crashes, and it does the same thing where it's raising those dopamine levels in unnatural ways and then crashing those receptors. So I want you to know that these behaviors are not random. They're attempts to self-soothe. They give temporary relief from what we don't want to feel, and it just makes sense for us to turn to them. But now let's talk about how we can start shifting away from these numbing mechanisms. The first step is awareness. Awareness is the first shift for us. I want you to know that this is a starting point, and you do not have to overhaul your entire life today. Just notice. Start by becoming aware of when, where, and why you numb. Here are 3 questions you can ask yourself the next time you're journaling, and you can start finding your numbing patterns. Number 1 is, what am I feeling right now? Number 2 is, what am I avoiding? And number 3 is, what do I actually need in this moment? That third question has become so important to me over this past year. What do I actually need in this moment? Maybe you need a hug, but no one is around. How about a weighted blanket? That could be a great fix. We figured that out on a Daymakers call, and we were all like, yes. So maybe that's what you need, right? Maybe you're feeling like, I just want to escape. I have that feeling a lot. Everybody's talking in my family at once. I just want to get out. It's too much. It's overstimulating. And I'm like, I want to run away. What can I do in that moment? Because I can't really just run away from my family. But maybe I can excuse myself to the restroom and take a little break. That's what I do a lot. I just, get up, go head to the restroom, and just hang out in there for, 2 to 5 minutes so nobody thinks it's weird. And then I give myself that little break. So start asking yourself, what do I actually need in this moment? And then start figuring out what those things are. And then start thinking of some small substitutions. Instead of pouring a drink, you could take a shower. Maybe a shower isn't an option because you need to be somewhere. So just go wash your hands in really warm water and use some soap that's scented, like lavender scented. I just love lavender scented stuff right now. And then maybe put some lotion on your hands. That can be a simple fix. Or maybe instead of scrolling, you can go outside for 5 minutes. You don't have to go on a walk, but maybe you want to. That will work too. But tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to scroll. I'm just going to go stand outside and I'm going to take a few deep breaths. Or maybe instead of snacking in the evening, you try journaling for 2 minutes. Write one line down about the day. We talked about this in the last episode where we talked about romanticizing your life. Write one sentence of your day where there was really something amazing that you want your future self to read and say, oh my gosh, I remember that day. It was so amazing. Do that instead of reaching for those late night snacks. So these small shifts are how it starts. You don't need willpower. You just need awareness and kindness. Now I want you to start realizing that numbing is the signal. It is not the problem. I want you to change the lens. Instead of shaming yourself for numbing, treat it like a blinking indicator light on your dashboard. It's not the engine, it's the message, okay? It's just saying, hey, there's a misconnection somewhere. There's a misfire happening. So when you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to numb, there's nothing wrong with you. Your body's just saying, hey, I need something right now. That's where that question can come in. What do I need right now? And then figure out how to give yourself that. And then I want you to get curious. Your body is asking for something. Numbing is often a clue that you're depleted, overstimulated, disconnected, or anxious. What can you give your body to help these feelings, help these emotions? And then ask yourself, what is this behavior trying to give me? Is it comfort? Is it a break from responsibility? Is it a hit of dopamine because the day felt so flat? I know for me that can happen all the time. It can just feel like the same thing every day. So I have to inject little moments of fun into my day. And that will make it so I don't have cravings for things like alcohol or THC products. And lastly, I want you to replace the shame with self-trust. When you see the signal for what it is, you can respond with care and not criticism. So basically, when we're calling ourselves to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out right now, I need a drink. Instead, you're so stressed out right now. What can you do about it? Can you do a brain dump to-do list? Can you take yourself on a walk so you can just relax for a moment? Can you just go stand outside and take a few deep breaths and then come back and decide how you can go about managing this issue? Start realizing that you can respond with care. You don't have to respond with the numbing. So what now? We've talked all about why you may be numbing, how to start recognizing it, but what can you do when this actually happens? I want you to first choose just one of your numbing habits and observe it for the next few days. No judgments, just notice it. Realize when it's happening, realize what builds up to it happening. Just get really curious and go, okay, why does this happen in my life? What am I looking for? And then I want you to start thinking of one ritual that you can swap. Maybe it's lighting a candle and listening to music instead of pouring a glass of wine. Maybe it's journaling one sentence before you reach for your phone, because you might journal one sentence and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much I want to say. And it gets you going down that rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole is actually a really great form of self-care. Or maybe it is stopping and asking yourself, what am I really needing right now? And then figuring out what you really need and giving yourself that thing. I want you to remember that this is about progress, not perfection. This journey is never about doing it all at once, and it's about choosing something new one moment at a time. I hope that this episode has been really helpful for you, and now you can start saying, oh my gosh, this all makes so much sense. I know when I started figuring it out, I started going, oh my gosh, there are direct things that happen in my life that would make me go, I want a drink, or, oh my gosh, I'm going to go take a hit off the weed pen. Like, those things for me were stress of my day-to-day life, telling myself that I deserved a little treat, or because sometimes it was both, it was because the monotony of life was happening for me. And I was feeling like it's just the same thing every day, cooking dinner, getting the kids from point A to point B. And it just felt kind of boring. And it felt like when I would drink or take a hit off the weed pen, it made it all feel maybe a little bit more exciting. So I have had to inject moments of excitement and moments of fun into my life so I don't have this feeling anymore. And that's what I want you to do. Really start learning and use this episode to do just that. If this episode did land for you, be sure to write a review. We've been getting a lot of new reviews and I just love reading them, so I was going to share one today. I don't like to share full names because I never know if you guys want me to share them, but this one is from someone with the initials KA, so hopefully you know who you are. They wrote, "Grateful for this podcast. It's been about a year and 4 months for me, and I just want to say thank you for starting this podcast and sharing your journeys. I've been a listener for well before I was ready to quit. The sentiment, 'no more wasted days,' resonated with me from the get-go, and I finally took the plunge and haven't looked back. I haven't listened to all the shows, but man, it always seems the ones I need to hear when I need to hear it come through. Today I listened to the one about summer, and coming into my second one, I needed that. Thank you, ladies, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, KA. I really appreciate that. And please write your own review so we can share it here on the episode. And also, before we close out, I want to remind you to hop on the Push to 100 waiting list. Remember, it's a 100-day experience designed to help you get your energy, clarity, and confidence back without numbing, without overwhelm, and without doing it alone. Remember, only 30 people will be accepted, and the waitlist gets early access when doors open. So get your name on the waiting list today. The link is in the show notes, or you can head to nomorewasteddays.co/100 waiting list. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be in your ear in the next episode.